Barcelonában a 2016-os Mobile World Congress kiállításon az LG kommunikációs igazgatójával, az olvasónk által jól ismert Ken Honggal. Hi Ken, how are you?
I'm good, Csaba. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having you here. You've introduced the G5 right now,
Yes.
quite a show for it. I think it's an important device for LG. But on the other hand, it's not what we expected. The design is really different from the others. It looked like that you have some really nice way. People loved it. It was elegant, and now it's kind of a funky device, funky looking device. How did it happen?
Well, you know, when you're working with, first of all, I disagree that this is an important device for LG. I think this is an important device for the industry, and I'll tell you why. Because I think this concept of that we're introducing with the G5, the modular system, I think it is taking the industry into a different direction, and the industry needs to go in a different direction. We've thought for a while that the smartphone industry was getting very boring and stagnant. Everyone's just, you know, comparing resolution and battery size and CPU. I don't think most consumers care about that. Most consumers want phones that are usable, easy, you know, easy on the wallet, or fast, you know, not faster in terms of clock speed, but you know, in faster charging, things like that. So it's important for the industry, not just for LG, that we go in a different direction. In terms of design, because we went from the G4 to G5 with a totally different material, there were a lot of changes that we had to make. For example, the volume keys had to be moved because it was too bulky. Okay, so if you remember, the G4 was slightly curved, and so that allowed us to put the volume key in the middle. But with the flat aluminum, it became too thick, and so we had to move that. It's a different looking device, but we think it's a clean device, and we think it is unlike other metal phones. It looks very unique to other aluminum phones because, look, there are no lines on the back for the antenna. We created a whole different way to manufacture aluminum phones, where the antenna is actually embedded in the cover, and now it's made to look exactly like aluminum. So again, there's a lot of things that we introduced in the G5 that a lot of other metal phones do not have.
And what about the communication? I mean, the G3, G4 were quite elegant models, but now you're communicating in a really funky style with some comic book-like text and stuff like that. It's really rushing and yes, but on the other hand, as you said, it's a clean device. It's different looking, but it's not that funky maybe as a communication is.
It's for us, it's pretty conservative. It's definitely not in the same style as the G4 or the G3. If you look at the G4 that I have, which is only 7-8 months old, this is meant to be more elegant leather, and this is much more modern. You look in the front; they look very similar, but look at the size. It's a little bit smaller. Okay, it's a little bit thinner, and so we're trying to make it a little bit more comfortable in the hand. This one is 5.5-inch display. This is 5.3. So obviously it should feel a little bit more secure in your hand. But you're right. This is very different from the G4. Not evolutionary. It's revolutionary.
Okay. It's a kind of a modular phone.
Yes.
You have some grips. This is the one, I think. It's an extra battery with a shutter button and some.
Correct.
Yeah. What else can we expect? You have a mobile DSA with an amplifier. Can we expect some other things?
Absolutely. This is just the first four that we're showing here at MWC, but this has a lot of functionality on the audio side. We developed this with B&O, Bang& Olufsen, out of Denmark. It's very tiny, but you will notice that it's slightly larger than the original base. Okay, so it is going to be longer than the original battery holder here. So to show you, just press here and pull. And then what you want to do is you want to add this battery to here. Okay, line up the arrows. So you line up the batteries here, and boom. So again, what you see here is it is slightly larger. Okay, so you got a longer phone than before. So the shape will change. When you say modular, yes, not only does the functionality change, but the look also changes. And when you turn it on again, it just looks like a slightly different phone. I could, when I switch out this and put in the cam module, again, the look changes again. Okay, so now you have a phone that looks somewhat similar to this. Color is different. The size is actually different than this. It's actually longer than the original. But look at the back. Okay, so you've got a very sturdy, it won't fall off anytime, and it's a nice grip now. So it's got a grip. So the look is different, the color has changed, and the functionality has changed as well. So that's what we think modular is.
Okay, and you expect other companies to follow you with this modular type of phone building?
If they want to, we welcome it. If they don't, that's fine as well. We have a pretty good understanding of our audience around the world. We'll try to make the best modules, friends as we call it, for the audiences around the world. That's the great thing about this idea, is that we can create different modules for different consumers. It's not just one phone for everybody. Some phone companies will make one phone, and a slightly more expensive or bigger phone, and then they'll say, these are our two best phones for everyone in the whole world. So 7 billion people in the world can buy just these two phones. We're not saying that. We're saying you can buy many phones or many modules.
We were talking about the G Flex last year, and you said that it was kind of a demonstration that you can do it, and it wasn't built for mass production. I mean,
correct,
for many people.
That is correct.
But yeah,
good memory.
We were expecting the G Flex 3 during CES because it was a great phone. On the other hand, it wasn't cheap, but it was really great. But no, G Flex 3 came. Are you going to continue the series?
We will take a break. We want to focus our resources on the V series. So, in this business, you only have enough people, engineers, money, knowledge to do, a few things really well. You can do many things average, or you can do a few things really well. And our decision was, instead of trying to do both the G Flex and the V10, let's make a decision. Let's focus on one large phone. Now, the V10 and the G Flex are not the same size, but they are larger than the G series. And so a lot of the resources from the G Flex 2, most of the reflexes from G Flex series went to work on the V10. And so we're going to continue the V series for a while and see and then we'll decide, should we go back to the G Flex series or stay with the V series. So again, we're kind of looking at both right now.
Okay, and if we're talking about the global market and looking from high perspective, what do you expect from this year? You have modular phones, maybe someone will follow you, someone won't. Mm-hmm. Samsung has new phones, but basically what's going to happen with smartphones this year?
I think smartphones this year will have to continue to be affordable. I think the market for affordable smartphones, not 2-year contracts. I think unlocked affordable phones are going to be important for all companies. The rest of the world, the countries, important countries in Europe and South America, Southeast Asia, they're going to be very important to us. And so we're going to put out some mid-range phones as well as some affordable higher end phones. But I think the big change we think will happen is that people aren't just going to upgrade their phones because it has a faster processor or bigger display. I think they're going to look for more usable reasons to upgrade their phone. Remember, the PC desktop for many years, all they cared about was clock speed. And then about 6, 7, 8 years ago, they stopped worrying about clock speed because it didn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. I think that's what's happening with hardware specs in smartphones now. Nobody cares how fast your smartphone is.
Because most of them are fast, right? I mean, even in the low-end segment, you can use your phone. It's not that nothing happens when I move my finger, but...
Seems that way. I mean, last year there was a lot of talk about, 808 Snapdragon, 810 Snapdragon. To us, it didn't matter. They were very similar. And I think most people agree with us now. You remember, beginning of last year, oh my goodness, they're not using the 810, horrible. We didn't think so at all. We thought they were very similar. One happened to fit, our pricing and other requirements better. So I think if you look now, most people would agree that there aren't that many differences between an 808 and an 810. I think with the 820, there's a significant amount of improvement, but I don't think people are going to upgrade their phones because of the CPU. They're going to upgrade their phone because of the other factors, which we hope to emphasize.
Okay, thanks.
Anytime, Chaba.
And thanks for having me here.
I'm happy to be here, and I hope you get a chance to show our G5 to your audience all over the world.